You mentioned shepherd alongside the word king there.
Yeah.
And in the book, you make a mention in 1 Samuel 17, David, before he's about to go fight Goliath, he mentions that he has slain lions and bears while protecting the flock. Um, is there any significance to that? What is it and why?
Yeah, well, I think the main examples, the best examples come from Assyria. And there was for about 200 years in Assyria, the Assyrians had annals for a period of like well over 1,000 years. And but there was just a period of about 200 years where the kings, and these annals are all standard. They introduce the king as the one of the chosen of the gods and all this, and the splendid one and all that. And then you'll get reports in succession of his different campaigns, and they would typically end with temple building or temple renovation, um, and then blessings and curses too. Blessings on you if some future prince, if he discovers this inscription that may have been neglected or forgotten, and he cleanses it, anoints it with oil, and puts it in his place. But if he tries to destroy it, throws it in a river, burns it, buries it, or chisels out my name and puts his in to make it look like he did all these things, then he's cursed. So even that has all that kind of covenantal nuance to it. But for a short period, they seemed to, they wanted to insert some stuff about the hunt. And so in the hunt, they would go out and perform these incredible feats, like I struggled hand to paw with 80 lions and I killed them all, stuff like that. Um, Incidentally, if you'll allow me to digress, I remember some years ago seeing pictures of Vladimir Putin riding bareback on his horse, and I'm thinking, this is ancient Near Eastern typology. This guy's the great, powerful king, the macho guy.
You wrote that back
But
to me in an email, and I had to chuckle at that. I like that.
yeah, but I mean, there's nothing new under the sun, as the man said. But anybody who knew, and I think in the ancient world, these cultures, obviously from this work and other works that have been done, these cultures were not hermetically sealed off from each other. They had trade, they had wars, they had all sorts of commerce and influences. So when David says that to Saul, in my opinion, David is simply saying, look, I have protected my sheep from lions and bears and all that. I can deal with this guy. And whether how much David knew at that point, I don't know. But I would imagine that Saul would have realized, and even if he didn't, it doesn't matter because it's a matter of record here. David is implicitly making a claim to being royal material.
Mm.
He
Right,
can do
yeah.
that with the wild animals. And of course, really, this comes forward in a beautiful way because we know that our enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour, but Jesus has overcome the devil. So Jesus, the good shepherd, protects his sheep from that roaring lion.
Hmm. Yeah, that's excellent. Yeah, I love that the author just putting these little things in there to tell you, hey, David, he's kingly material.
Yeah,
Just getting the ancient reader to perk up whether or not, like you said, David or Saul understood these particular tropes. The author he inserted this in here and included this phrase that David said because he wanted to make a point that David he's a fitting king, fitting ruler, and he's going to be the serpent crusher who goes and crushes the snaky Goliath. We've talked about that before on the podcast.